Good morning. Please be seated. My name is Gordon MacDonald. I'm the Chief Justice of the New Hampshire Supreme Court. With me this morning is Senior Associate Justice Gary Hicks, Associate Justice Anna Barbara Hans Marconi, and Associate Justice Patrick Donovan. And here from the United States District Court for the District of New Hampshire is United States Magistrate Judge Andrea Johnstone. Good morning, everyone. To the family and friends of our admittees, we welcome you to this special session of our two courts. We can feel your joy and pride on this day, and we're happy to be here and share it with you. Bar admission ceremonies are always special for our courts. It's special because we're able to join in the celebration of what is obviously a very important professional milestone for the admittees. And it is also special because we are reminded what a unique privilege it is to be a New Hampshire lawyer. And because our admittees have spent the last 2 years working directly with New Hampshire lawyers, you know that our bar is marked by honesty, integrity, courtesy, respect, civility, collegiality, and caring and support for each other. The Daniel Webster Scholars Bar Admission Ceremony is even more special. First, we all take great pride that New Hampshire's only law school continues to lead and innovate among legal educators with this program. Experiential learning is one thing, but producing what are truly practice-ready lawyers is something quite remarkable and something to be very proud of. Second, it's an opportunity for us as the court, which ultimately regulates our profession, to celebrate a really important collaboration with legal educators, whose job is obviously to educate you, in an effort to reframe the bar admissions process in a manner that both protects the public while advancing legal education. This program and this graduation is the ultimate product of the vision and hard work of, among others, our former colleague, Chief Justice Linda Delanis, Professor John Garvey, and many, many volunteer attorneys from the Bar Association who worked together to construct and give form to a vision of what this program ultimately became. Finally, this bar admission ceremony is special because we're able to gather and bring together all those who work so hard to make the Daniel Webster Scholars Honor Program so special. Our bar examiners, faculty, staff, volunteers, and of course, our students. So let me begin by recognizing Professor Courtney Q. Brooks, who is the director of the Daniel Webster Scholar Honors Program.
Thank you, Chief Justice MacDonald. Thank you to Justices Hicks, Hans Marconi, Donovan, and Judge Johnstone for being here today. Thank you to all the other distinguished guests from the Board of Bar Examiners, the bench, and the bar for being here today. Thank you to everyone who's come today to celebrate this special group as they become lawyers. And thank you to those who are watching us on the live feed. To the Daniel Webster Scholar Class of 2022, congratulations. You are the 15th graduating class of this program. And in under an hour, you will join 270 other Webster Scholars who have come before you. But while you're the 15th class, you're my first class. And if I'm being honest, I may or may not have shed some tears this morning. In August of 2020, we all came together in room 282. I hate that room. We were wearing masks, the AC was blasting, and we came together to do some group bonding, and bonding we did. Within minutes of being in that room, I realized that this was going to be a special group. It was immediately clear that you all really wanted to be there and that you were willing to work hard. You had heard that the program was hard, rigorous, yet you showed up. You were committed to working hard so that you could become client ready. You were willing to be vulnerable, to try new things, to make mistakes, to learn, and to grow. And we were all going to do it together. We built community from day one. And the work started right away. We broke into firms, Professor Phelan being the opposing counsel of our firm. Even before classes, you joined these firms, and we learned we were going to meet our clients the very next week. Things moved quickly from there. In 14 weeks, you went from meeting your client to arguing motions for summary judgment in federal court. Maybe it was because of the pandemic and we had nothing else to do, but you litigated the heck out of that Walsh case. In fact, you did extra work, drafting motions on the side for fun, and thank goodness you didn't file them, because I was going to have to call Judge Johnstone over the weekend to tell her we had an emergency motion to compel. We worked so hard on that case that my daughter started asking, "Are you working on your fake case again?" And if I was on Zoom or the phone, she would say, "Are you talking to your fake associates?" She actually told her teachers about it. They asked what my job was. But you didn't stop at pretrial ad. The hard work continued from there. And after 2 years with you, I've seen you grow and develop into client-ready lawyers. And today I'm happy to witness you becoming lawyers. I know that you'll be good attorneys and distinguished members of the bar. You have a high degree of professionalism, and you have a good mix of humility and good humor. But you didn't get here alone. As states grappled in the last 2 years about following COVID and how to deal with licensure, the Daniel Webster Scholar has gotten the Daniel Webster Scholar Program has gotten a lot of attention. But to date, we remain the only competency-based bar readiness program. And I keep wondering why. Why, when it has been described most recently in the Build a Better Bar Project report as the gold standard of bar licensing. And what I've started to learn is that states are marvel at both the detail that goes into the simulations and the support of the bench and the bar. This program is a team effort, as Justice McDonald said. This program would not be successful without so many other people. In fact, this tent is full of people who have helped you along the way. And there are many more who couldn't be here today, and even more who are watching us on the live stream. Your Honor, with your permission, I'd like to carry on Professor Garvey's tradition and ask some people to stand. Would the parents of Webster Scholars please stand? These are the people who nurtured you, they watched you grow, they drove you to your practices, your meets, your games. They are your role models and your strongest supporters. Today, we celebrate them. Would the spouses or partners of the Webster Scholars please stand? Bless you, truly patient people. These are the people you've leaned on. These are the people who've done some of the heavy lifting while you were drafting discovery, writing your summary judgment motions. They've listened to you, they've listened to your arguments, and they've supported you. Today, we cherish them. Would the children of any Webster Scholars please stand? No police uniform today, though. I'm sad about that. These special people have been observing you over the last 3 years. They've watched you work hard to achieve your goals, even when they seemed unattainable. They look up to you and they see your strength. Today, we honor your love for them and theirs for you. Would the other family and friends of Webster Scholars please stand? I'm stealing this joke from Professor Garvey because it's a good one. These are people who will be calling you for free legal advice. Told you it was good. They'll do this for 2 reasons. 1, because it's free, and 2, because they respect you. This is their way of admiring you. Your friends and family have been there for you, even if you haven't been there for them, but you can be there for them now. Would the UNH Franklin Pierce Law faculty and deans please stand? These are your teachers, your mentors. Every single one of them cares deeply about your success and wants to hear from you as you advance in your career. Today, we thank them. Is there any UNH Law staff here? If so, please stand. They're not. All right, there we go. They sat right down. But this program would not exist without them, and this ceremony today would not have happened without them. I'd like to specifically recognize Rayanda Rocher, who has worked tirelessly over the past several weeks to make sure this went smoothly today. She's not sleeping, which makes me sleep better, so thank you for that. And Dale Kenny is here. We all know and love Dale. And you know she cares about you and your success as well. And we appreciate her hard work and dedication to the program over the last 2 years, too. And finally, to Matt Grady, who's also lost a lot of sleep this week, who made sure we got the transcripts to everybody who needed the transcripts in time for you to be here today. So thank you, Matt. And would any other Webster Scholar, bar examiners, or volunteers please stand? Although most of them weren't able to be here today, as Justice McDonald has said, you've benefited from the efforts and hours of work that so many judges, lawyers, court reporters, Dove staff, volunteers, mediators, graduated Webster Scholars, and so many more who volunteered their time so that you would be successful and client ready. As you go forward, remember how important these people were to you and emulate them. And when you leave here today, carry forward that spirit of gratitude and giving back. Do pro bono work, take Dove cases, volunteer for community organizations, sit on boards and committees, and when I call or email, respond with, yes, of course. And I actually know you will. And for the last 2 years, you've learned how to practice law in simulated settings. But today, the simulation's over. You'll be on your own, but you will not be alone. Today, you join the 270 Webster Scholars who came before you. These Webster Scholars will be your trusted advisors, your mentors, your supporters, colleagues, and friends. That is the beauty of the Webster program. You're part of a community. Yesterday, I received an extremely thoughtful gift. It was a shirt that says, Together we go far. It was the perfect gift because it completely captured the thing that makes the Webster program so successful. So in closing today, I leave you with these words: together we go far. Chief Justice McDonald, I am pleased to certify that the students seated before you have completed all of the requirements of the Daniel Webster Scholar Honors Program and may be certified as Webster Scholars.
Court now recognizes Dean Megan Carpenter, Dean of the University of New Hampshire, Franklin Pierce School of Law. Dean Carpenter.
Thank you, Chief Justice McDonald. It doesn't take long after coming into the state of New Hampshire that you start hearing the motto, live free or die, all the time, in all kinds of contexts. We take that seriously here, and it has almost become a cliche, and it's often a testament to individualism or, a fierce sense of independence. But when General John Stark sent those words as a toast to the Revolutionary War troops that he had commanded on the occasion of their reunion, he recalled in the letter how they worked together as a team. They worked together toward a common goal, how they shared a passion and a drive, that they were committed to ideals that were greater than themselves. Living free was about working to better your community, to protect ideals and rights that we hold dear, to create a future that is better than our past, and to do that with one another. The Daniel Webster Scholar Honors Program similarly is a product of collaboration and teamwork and commitment to that kind of higher ideal. Webster Scholars are part of something uniquely New Hampshire. The experience that you all have had during your time here is due to that sense of teamwork, to the volunteer efforts of so many in the community. Thanks to the entire state Supreme Court, to so many attorneys who volunteer their time to participate in the program. This isn't just a UNH Franklin Pierce program, it's a community. The Supreme Court, the bar, and the law school together, thinking about how to graduate the kind of lawyers who can work together to create that future that is better than our past. As Professor Brooks mentioned, one aspect of the pandemic has been that all kinds of states across the nation are thinking about attorney licensure and how to do it right. There's been a real intensification and amplification of that discussion. And it's incredible that we were the first, just like New Hampshire was the first colony to establish an independent government and draft a constitution in January 1776. This program breaks ground. It's the first of its kind, and it remains the only one of its kind. And I'll remind you that you're a part of this movement that redefines legal education on our own terms. It's a foundation of our school, and this program is truly a cornerstone of that. Finally, and relatedly, and this connects to some of what Professor Brooks said as well, I want to say that you're graduating from law school, but you're not graduating from the Webster Scholars Program. That I've really learned in my years here that once a Webster, always a Webster. And the Webster program only works if you become a part of it too in the coming years, if you give back to it, that team effort. You owe it to the generations that come after you to share the knowledge that you're developing, that you've developed in school and that you'll develop throughout your career. Come volunteer for simulations, help make the program accessible to others, lend your experience and your unique perspective to the next generation. And I just want to say one final thing as I invite Professor Courtney Brooks to join me now on stage for the presentation of certificates. And that is a heartfelt thank you to her. If you're on a team, you want her on it. Courtney's vision is now taking the program to new heights This program was a big dream, and it is a reality that is changing legal education as we know it. And I am so thrilled that she is leading the charge. To all DWS graduates today, we welcome you to the profession of law as colleagues. Congratulations.
When I call out your name, come up to the stage and we'll present you with the certificates of completion of the Daniel Webster Scholars Program. Elizabeth Blackhall. Jennifer Elizabeth Cote. Nicole Demas. Amanda Dupuy. Corey Daniel Noel Greenleaf. Kaylee M. Howard. Paul Klein. Anna Margaret Lucier. Joshua G. Marshall. Cassandra Moran. Shannon Mulholland. Kavyashree Nagamoto. Connor O'Neill. Katarina Overberg. Emily E. Peterson. Laura J. Raymond. That's up there. Cassandra O. Rogers. Holly N. Salois. John Hugh Sheehy. James Edward Simpson, Jr. We got a crew here. Catherine E. Taylor. Mark E. Waldner, Jr. Eleanor May Walker. and Benjamin L. Weiner. Congratulations to the class of 2022 Daniel Webster Scholars.
The court now recognizes Attorney Bruce Felmley, who is Vice Chair of the New Hampshire Board of Bar Examiners.
Thank you, Your Honor, and good morning, everyone. Let me first of all indicate how pleased I am to be here. I've been part of the Webster Scholar program from really its inception, and I serve in the role not just in representing the Board of Bar Examiners this morning, but I'm also a participant in reviewing the work and going over the portfolios of the Webster Scholars, and I've done that for essentially the entirety of the program, and I consider that a privileged part of my legal practice, and I'm very happy on days like this to see all the successful faces that are here in the crowd and to see all the family, and I bring the good tidings from the New Hampshire Board of Bar Examiners. This is a very important program from the perspective of the board, and I'm honored to be here. What I'm going to do this morning is to read the names of the applicants. There's a lot of name reading this morning, you'll notice. We're not nearly done with it. But here's the good news. It's repetitive. You're going to know your name. So I'm going to read the names of the folks that are being admitted. I will then be introducing the sponsoring individuals who will be making special motions on behalf of colleagues they have friendship or prior work experience with. And then at the end, I'll be making a motion that covers all the bases so that if there's something we miss, it'll cover it and everybody gets admitted today. That's, in my world, that's called redundancy. We do a lot of that at trials. With no further ado, let me read the names of the applicants, and I'll ask you, as I read your name, to stand and remain standing. It won't be an enormous burden because we're going to go through this pretty quickly. Elizabeth Blackhall, Jennifer Elizabeth Cote, Nicole Demas, Amanda Dupuy, Corey Daniel Noel Greenleaf, Kaylee M. Howard, Paul Klein, Anna Margaret Lucier, Joshua G. Marshall, Cassandra Moran, Shannon Mulholland, Kavasari Nagumata, excuse me, I practiced this one too, Nugatimo, Connor O'Neill, Katerina Overberg, Emily E. Peterson, Laura J. Raymond, Cassandra O. Rogers, Holly Salois, John Hugh Sheely, James Edward Simpson Jr., Catherine E. Taylor, Mark E. Waldner Jr., Eleanor May Walker, and Benjamin L. Weiner. So we'll ask you folks to remain standing, and what I will now do is to read the names of the sponsoring judges and attorneys and other colleagues and distinguished members of the bar who will be making motions on behalf of folks for admission, which is a time-honored practice at ceremonies like this. Several of them are going to be making multiple motions, but I'll introduce first Chief Justice McDonald, who will be making several motions.
Thank you, Attorney Felmley. I have the honor of moving the admission of Corey D.N. Greenleaf and John Hugh Sheehy, both of whom served with great distinction in my chambers.
Next, Senior Associate Justice Gary E. Hicks will be making several motions.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. It's my honor this morning to move the admission of Nicole Demas. Congratulations. And to move the admission of Eleanor May Walker. That's in my capacity as a Supreme Court Justice. Then on behalf of the Superior Court, our beloved colleagues at the Superior Court, I've been asked to move the admission of a friend of mine, Joshua Marshall, and Shannon Mulholland. It is indeed my honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, I'll call on Justice Anna Barbara Hance Marconi, who will be making, I believe, 3 motions.
Thank you, Attorney Felmley. I, Justice Hans Marconi, have the honor of moving the admission of Kavya Nagamoto, Laura J. Raymond, and Cassie Rogers, all 3 of whom served in my chambers and also helped some of the other justices as interns and residents over the past year. Thanks.
I'll now call upon Judge John Pendleton, who will be joining in one of the Chief Justice's motions and making another one.
All right, good morning. With compliments to all of you graduates, I want to move, well, first I want to thank all of my interns, Paul Klein, Corey Greenleaf, and Ben Weiner, and today I have the pleasure of joining Chief Justice in moving for admission on Corey Greenleaf or seconding, and I also move for the admission of Ben Weiner, and again, compliments to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I now call upon Anna Elbruck to be making motions on behalf of other applicants.
Thank you, and congratulations to all of you. I am moving with honor for the admission of Cassandra Moran to the New Hampshire Bar, and then I'm joining Attorney Sam Perrell in moving for Emily E. Peterson's admission.
And I would also move for the admission of Emily Peterson to the New Hampshire Bar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew Miller will be making a motion.
Good morning. I, Matthew Miller, have the honor of moving for the admission of Amanda S. Dupuis to the New Hampshire Bar. Congratulations.
Can I call upon Diane Lohman to make a motion?
Good morning. I, Diane J. Lohman, have the honor of moving for the admission of Anna Margaret Lucier to the New Hampshire Bar.
Next, I'm going to call on Adria Veroshi to make a motion.
I, Adria Veraki, have the honor of moving for the admission of Connor J. O'Neill to the New Hampshire Bar. Congratulations.
And next, Autumn Kish will be making a motion.
Good morning. I, Autumn Kish, have the honor of moving for the admission of Elizabeth Blackhall to the New Hampshire Bar. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you. Pamela Phelan will be making a motion.
Good morning. I, Pamela Phelan, have the honor, the great honor, to move the admission of Holly Salois to the New Hampshire Bar. Congratulations, everyone.
And next, Melissa Davis, would you please come forward to make your motion?
Congratulations, everyone. I, Melissa Davis, have the honor of moving for the admission of James Edward Simpson, Jr. to the New Hampshire Bar.
And next, I'll call upon Jeffrey Spill for a motion.
Good morning. I have the extreme pleasure and honor of moving to the New Hampshire Bar Jennifer Elizabeth Cody, who served as a resident at the New Hampshire Secretary of State's office. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne Eglin, can you come forward to make a motion?
Congratulations, everyone. I, Johanna Eglund, have the honor of moving for the admission of Katarina Overberg to the New Hampshire Bar.
Thank you. Eric Forcier, could you please come forward for your motion?
I, Eric Forcier, have the honor of moving for the admission of Catherine E. Taylor to the New Hampshire Bar. Congratulations.
Maria Hyde, please come forward and make your motion.
I, Maria Hyde, have the honor of moving for the admission of Mark E. Waldner, Jr. to the New Hampshire Bar. Welcome to the profession, Mark.
John Vanacore, please come forward to make your motion.
Congratulations to everybody. I have the honor of moving for the admission of Paul Klein, the best intern I've had in 38 years, to the New Hampshire Bar. Best of luck to all of you.
Thank you very much, John. And last but not least, Eaton Tarbell will be making a motion.
I, Eaton Tarbell, have the pleasure of moving for the admission of Kaylee M. Howard to the New Hampshire Bar.
Thank you, and thank all of the sponsors who have come forward. With that, Mr. Chief Justice, on behalf of the New Hampshire Board of Bar Examiners, I'm pleased to move the admission of all of the candidates who have been presented this morning. They have met all of our criteria and requirements for admission, and we are extremely pleased and happy and honored to have them join our ranks, and would ask you to grant that motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Felmley. Are there any objections to the foregoing motions? Hearing none, they are all granted. Congratulations. The court now recognizes Timothy A. Gudis, who is the clerk of the New Hampshire Supreme Court.
Yeah. Please remain standing. I regret to inform you, you're not quite admitted yet. There's an oath in two parts. After each part, I'd ask you to say, I do. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and the state of New Hampshire, and will support the constitutions thereof, so help you God, or under the pains and penalties of perjury? Would all members of the bar please stand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will do no falsehood, nor consent that any be done in the court, and if you know of any, that you will give knowledge thereof to the justices of the court, or some of them, that it may be reformed, that you will not wittingly or willingly promote, sue, or procure to be sued any false or unlawful suit, nor consent to the same, that you will delay no person for lucre or malice, and will act in the office of an attorney within the court according to the best of your learning and discretion, and with all good fidelity, as well to the court as to your client. So help you God, or under the pains and penalties of perjury. Congratulations. You may be seated.
We will now turn to the U.S. District Court segment of our proceedings, and it's my honor to recognize Magistrate Judge Johnstone.
Good morning, and thank you, Chief Justice McDonald. It's an absolute honor and pleasure to be here today. On behalf of the judges and staff of the United States District Court for the District of New Hampshire, I would like to congratulate the University of New Hampshire, Franklin Pierce School of Law, Daniel Webster Scholars on their admission to the bar of the state of New Hampshire and very soon to the bar of the United States District Court for the District of New Hampshire. On this day, the legal profession and our courts recognize your ability, achievement, and character after many years of study and hard work. It is customary on these occasions to say a few words in celebration of your accomplishments and also to share a few observations about what makes the practice of law in New Hampshire so special. And you've already heard a little bit about that from Chief Justice McDonald. I'm going to echo some of those same ideas because they're absolutely true, and they are what makes it so special to be here. My colleague, the late Judge Joseph DeClerico, often addressed new admittees at ceremonies such as this one. And when he did, he spoke about Hosea Parker, who was a distinguished lawyer and public servant in New Hampshire back in the mid-1800s. And I want to share some of his thoughts and comments with you. At the beginning of the 20th century, Hosea Parker wrote a chapter about the bench and bar of New Hampshire in a book called State Builders. The book is a historical and biographical compilation about New Hampshire. Parker's observations about the legal profession in New Hampshire at the time remain relevant today. He wrote, "Each and every member of the bar ought to be deeply impressed with the dignity and greatness of his calling. It is a noble profession, and no one but an active member can realize the great responsibility which is assumed by those who belong to it. The lawyer has not only his own personal cares and duties, but he must bear the burdens of his clients and keep constantly in mind their interests and their welfare in all of the complicated matters committed to his keeping. And this involves anxious study and anxious thought. Nowhere has the profession attained a prouder or more honorable position than in New Hampshire. From the earliest times in her history, it has been celebrated for its high character and learning. Let it be guarded and protected with a jealous eye, and it will continue to be in the future, as it has been in the past, the great conservator of state and nature." Parker's words remind us that as lawyers and judges, we hold an important public trust. We are entrusted with the fate of democracy and the individual liberties it allows. It is our responsibility to protect and preserve our legal system so that we can turn it over to future generations undiminished by anything that we have done and hopefully strengthened in some small way by our contributions. I encourage you to embrace this charge to protect and preserve our legal system and to make this a foundational principle of your practice. The professionalism and collegiality of the New Hampshire Bar is coveted by practitioners from all around the country. It is now your responsibility to be a custodian of the New Hampshire Bar's tradition of unmatched civility and professionalism. Let the New Hampshire Lawyers' Professionalism Creed, adopted by the New Hampshire Board of Governors, guide you. I will not read to you the entire creed. Instead, I will highlight a salient passage from its 7 principles. And it echoes some of what Chief Justice McDonald shared with you earlier. A New Hampshire lawyer is civil. Civility and self-discipline prevent lawsuits from turning into combat. and keep organized society from falling apart. A New Hampshire lawyer behaves in a courteous, decent, and disciplined manner and counsels clients to do likewise. Displays respect for clients, judges, court staff, opposing counsel, and all participants in the process. Behaves with humility rather than arrogance. Understands differing viewpoints and has empathy for others. I leave it to each one of you to read the New Hampshire Lawyer Professionalism Creed in its entirety. If you do not already have a copy, it is available on the New Hampshire Bar Association website. I encourage you to read it, refer to it now and again as a reaffirming reminder, and conduct yourselves accordingly. Courtesy, civility, and integrity enhance the legal profession. You will find that if you practice in accordance with these principles, your legal career will be more satisfying and fulfilling. And before I conclude, I would like to take a moment to recognize Shannon Mulholland and Laura Raymond for their hard work, energy, enthusiasm, and great questions during their time as residents with our court. Thank you very much for the many, many contributions that you made and how much we learned from you. Once again, on behalf of my colleagues, Chief Judge McCafferty and Judges McAuliffe, Barbadoro, LaPlante, and Elliott, and all of our court staff, congratulations and welcome to the bar. I look forward to seeing you in court very soon. I have one more thing that I believe that I need to do, which is to recognize our first United States Assistant Attorney, John Farley.
Good morning, Your Honor. Pursuant to the rules of this court, it is my pleasure, as the first Assistant United States Attorney for this judicial district, to report that I have found the following applicants eligible for the admission to the bar of the United States District Court for the District of New Hampshire. Would each applicant please stand and say present when his or her name is called, and then remain standing? Corey Daniel Noel Greenleaf. Kaylee M. Howard. Cassandra Moran. Shannon Mulholland. Kavyashri Nagamoto. Connor O'Neill. Emily E. Peterson. Laura J. Raymond. Cassandra O. Rogers. Holly N. Solois. Eleanor May Walker. Benjamin L. Weiner. Your Honor, these individuals have been found to be fully qualified. I respectfully move for their admission to the bar of this court.
Thank you, and the motion is granted. All right, now we really need to make it official, so I am going to ask our Chief Deputy Clerk of Court, Tracy Ukrin, to come forward and administer the oath.
Thank you, Judge Johnstone. Would the new admittees remain standing? Please raise your right hand, and at the conclusion of the oath, say, "I do." I would also ask all members of the New Hampshire Bar present here this morning to stand while the oath is being administered. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that as an attorney and as a counselor of this court, you will conduct yourself uprightly and according to law, and that you will support the Constitution of the United States, so help you God? Thank you. Please be seated. Congratulations.
Court will now recognize Attorney Richard Guerriero, who is the president of the New Hampshire Bar Association.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice. Congratulations to all of our newly admitted attorneys, and thank you to everyone who supported these folks. You had to listen to things like the different kinds of interpleader and the Edwards initiation standard and words that didn't make any sense, and pretend to be interested and to be patient while they work their way through law school. And I can see this people smiling that they know what those things are, and the rest of you look confused, and that's how you should be. This is really exciting and kind of terrifying moment for you guys. I remember it really well. I graduated from the law school in Baton Rouge, Louisiana State University, and I was really too young and not ready to practice law because I didn't have a program like the one you went through. I literally tried my first trial with no trial skills training and no mentor, and it was terrible. I was nearly held in contempt. It was a senior lawyer. The judge called a senior lawyer to come rescue me. And thank God you have such a good and practical program that has put you in good stead to start your practice. So you're really lucky, and we in the bar are really lucky to have this program and to have you joining us. I want you to know that the feeling you have now, that sort of terror and excitement, I think you think, oh, it's going to go away. And I'm going to tell you, I hope it doesn't. I really love being a lawyer, and I love being a lawyer here in New Hampshire. And part of what I love about it is that, at least in my practice, it's both exciting and a little bit terrifying. I feel like the work I do every day is important. I wake up thinking, I want to read the next set of discovery. I want to know what's going to happen in this case. And I've been practicing 38 years, and I can tell you, I'm still terrified of messing up. When I go in front of these guys, I still think, God, do I really know the holding of that case? The thing that you thought in your freshman year in contracts or whatever, do I really know about it? I'm telling you, if you're working hard and handling difficult cases and working on important things, the good and the bad news is that it's not going to go away. It's still going to be terrifying and exciting, and that's part of what's rewarding about being a lawyer. Being a lawyer in New Hampshire is a particularly great thing, and I want to tell you a few things about the bar here and practice of law here, and then a little bit about the Bar Association. All the speakers before me listed off some particular things in terms of civility, et cetera. My list of 3 is integrity, civility, and hard work. And hard work is the one that I throw in. I know they all intend it, but it's the one that I think about first, actually. Because it's the one thing you can control. When you get out there and you're practicing law, it's the one thing that you can say, I can try harder, I can get up earlier, I can work harder on my file, I can read more cases, I can talk to my client longer. You can control it. And I can tell you that unlike, I shouldn't say unlike, but different from other places, lawyers here work hard. And by lawyers, I include all the judges. Judges here work hard. When you get to, if you're in litigation, when you get to court, the judges have read your pleadings. The judges have read the cases cited in your pleadings. You should be worried, do I really know the holding of this case? You should be worried, am I citing, am I providing facts to the court that if the court asks me, why do you say that? What's the basis of that factual assertion? You should be ready to answer that question. That's how the law is here in New Hampshire. I practiced in other places. I practiced in Louisiana for 9 years. I've tried cases in other places, a few states in the South, a little bit around New England. I even tried a case in Anchorage, Alaska one time. And the quality of practice in the United States in general is pretty high and pretty good, but I can tell you it's very high here. Judges are prepared, lawyers are prepared, and you should be too. And if that sounds a little bit like a stern warning from an old lawyer, it's not really, it's advice from a friend. It's going to happen to you at some point that you're going to find yourself flat-footed in a meeting or in court where you hadn't prepared the way that you realized at that moment you should have. And that's going to happen. It may have already happened to you as Daniel Webster Scholars. It's a sobering moment. And so remember that this is a hard-working bar where people are prepared. But it's also the kind of bar where you get to practice law like you've learned in your program to practice. You know, I've been other places where, like, you know, it's a deal made in the hallway after arraignment, or it's a discussion at a restaurant that settles the case. In New Hampshire, at least for a litigator like me, I'm mostly worried about, do I know the law? Have I marshaled the facts in favor of my case? Have I filed the right pleadings? Have I done the good investigation? Have I thought of themes that will be persuasive in my case? You get to practice law in New Hampshire the way you've been taught by all of your professors in law school. So that's a great benefit. It's not a backroom deal. You're really practicing law and upholding the rule of law while you're doing it, and doing exactly what you, I hope, went to law school to do. New Hampshire is also a place where there's a very high degree of integrity. I mentioned a few moments ago, if you say a case has a certain holding, you better be prepared to explain that. If you cite facts, you better be prepared to give the basis for that. And more importantly, in dealing with other lawyers and dealing with the clerks of court, and really everyone, citizens, witnesses, everyone, police officers that you're involved with, you want to be careful about your reputation. First of all, because it's the right thing to do, to be honest and forthright with people. But secondly, I mean, and I'm giving you some practical advice, this is a small state, and your reputation matters. And so from the beginning, be careful of what some people call sharp practices. You know, if you're not sure about the factual basis for what you're saying, don't say it. And I promise you that that is going to pay off for you, because there's going to be a time where you're going to make a mistake. I make mistakes all the time in my practice. Half of them are not noticed, and most of them don't matter, but you're going to make a mistake in your practice. And if you've been a person that is hardworking and has integrity in what they're doing, then your colleagues are going to respect you, and they're going to say, okay, they made a mistake this time. They're not going to hold it against you because you haven't been trying to cut corners and haven't been trying to mislead people or leave things, sort of mislead by omission or anything like that. So work hard and be fair and honest with the people you're working with. And lastly, in terms of civility, I'm going to change what I had to say because this happened to me yesterday. A few of you here know me, and I have my problem as an attorney is I tend to be more aggressive than I need to be. And I've worked on this my whole career, and believe it or not, I'm actually better now than I used to be. But literally, James is laughing at me because he's heard me rant in my office. Literally yesterday, a colleague of mine, another very experienced lawyer, said, due process and courtesy are not inconsistent. That's an exact quote from a member of our bar. And he said, so just settle down. And I did. I settled down, and everything was okay, and I was able to make my points, and not everyone in the room was furious with me at the end of things. So be civil, but also be passionate in what you do. I mean, I hope you can see, I really love being a lawyer. I really love being a lawyer. Maybe you worry, I'm going to burn out after 5 years or whatever. I haven't burned out. I mean, I'm excited to be a lawyer every day. One of my daughters is about to go to law school, and I think a little bit is because she liked working for me and seeing how much I loved it and how interesting it was. So, try to be civil. A few practical tips, really practical tips, and this is not sort of the high-minded stuff. Don't be late. These are in the area of hard work, these are the things you can control. Don't be late. We all struggle with it. We're all busy. It looks bad to be late. Read your file before you go do something. I mean, these are things that seem simple that we all know about, but I have to remind myself about every day. If you have a hearing in court or if you have a meeting with somebody, read the file, know the background of the people that are going to be there, look at the documents. It means getting up 30 or 40 minutes earlier in the morning. It means, instead of watching the Sports Center Top 10, you've got to turn the TV off and actually look at your file. But be prepared. It'll pay off in the long run. Don't miss deadlines. I can tell you in court here, everyone, and as part of the rules or the guidelines for professionalism, everyone here is very generous about giving extensions on deadlines, but ask before the deadline. Don't try to make it up after the deadline. Ask for an extension and don't miss a deadline. I mean, it happens routinely that motions are granted because an objection has not been filed within the deadline. So be careful about deadlines. And lastly, probably the most important practical advice, turn to your colleagues in the bar for support. I must get 3 or 4 calls a day from lawyers asking for assistance. And the great thing about New Hampshire is that it is a small bar, and maybe the downside is that everybody knows your business, and if you have, you have to be careful about your reputation. But the upside is that people will respond to you. I send things to opposing counsel. Opposing counsel will call me and say, last year I know you had this case. Can you send me the research you did? And I'll send it to them. Because it's no skin off my back to share, to make their job a little bit easier, and telling them what the law isn't going to hurt me. Your colleagues will help you. And that's where I segue to the New Hampshire Bar Association. That we are a mandatory bar, as you know. That's why you just became members or sworn and got your license to practice, but you also have to be a member of the bar. But our philosophy, my philosophy has been, and I think the philosophy of the Board of Governors is that we want to be a bar association that you would want to join and be a member of, even if it wasn't mandatory. One of the great things about the Bar Association is the CLE programs. We have often 2 or 3 programs a week. They're available online, and they're also available to attend in person. We have a program next week that on ethics, the annual ethics CLE. I mean, to give you an example, we had, I think, almost 500 people sign up for that last year. So a lot of people do take advantage of the CLE programs. It's a good way to both learn the law and keep up, but also sort of see who's doing what in New Hampshire. We have a young associate that wants to branch out into another area of law, and what we encouraged her to do was join that section of the Bar Association, go to a CLE on that, go in person and meet the other people, the senior lawyers that are practicing in that area. So the Bar Association makes those things available to you. There's a website, of course, which you're familiar with lots of resources. And so I hope that you will turn to all of us in the bar for support as you start your practice. So welcome to the Bar Association. Congratulations on your efforts, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you very much, Attorney Guerriero. As we close this very special ceremony, please join us for a reception right here under the tent. To our New Hampshire lawyers, let me again congratulate you and wish you the very, very best in the practice of law here in New Hampshire. This special joint session stands adjourned.